commendation over level of commitment exhibited by Eastern Naval Command at securing maritime domain and provision of infrastructure for personnel. Thank you so much for joining us. Now let's begin with the containment of COVID-19. The Ogun State government has declared the state free of coronavirus as all isolated persons who had contact with the index case have been discharged. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Oluwatomi Koka, disclosed this while updating journalists on effort made to contain the spread of the virus.
The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi Koka, at a media conference disclosed that the state was able to contain the spread with support from the federal government and some international agencies, including World Health Organization. She confirmed that all 40 isolated contacts have been discharged and allowed to reunite with their families, while the Italian, regarded as the index case, will be discharged soon.
We are aware that Ogun State is an industrial hub of Nigeria and a gateway state. So we're working closely with our port health services to closely monitor and screen vehicles as well as individuals coming across our borders. The WHO has declared COVID-19 as a pandemic. It is important that we in Ogun State continue to observe high levels of personal and respiratory hygiene. This involves the regular washing of hands with soap and flowing water, and in the absence of that, you can use alcohol-based gel and sanitizers to keep your hands clean.
The Commissioner urged residents to report any suspected case to the government.
Meanwhile, the University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital has debunked rumors making the rounds concerning the alleged patients of COVID-19 referred to the hospital. Ijoma Oweke has details.
Since the outbreak of coronavirus in the country, with 2 confirmed cases in Lagos and Ogun State, the Rivers State Ministry of Health and other relevant authorities are leaving nothing to chance to check the spread of the virus to Rivers State. Rising from a briefing by the University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital concerning the pending rumor of a case of COVID-19 victim that was referred to the hospital. Professor Prince Will Stanley, Chairman Medical Advisory Committee of the University Teaching Hospital, is here with me to clear the air on this issue. Please, sir, can you please tell us the situation on ground?
Thank you very much. I am here to tell you that as far as we are concerned, there is no confirmed case of COVID-19 within Rivers State and none in the confines of the University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital.
People are advised not to panic, continue with the precautionary measures, and they also desist from rumors and fake news. From the Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital, Ijoma Oweke, NTA News.
And President Donald Trump's travel ban on 26 European nations has come into force in the United States as part of a contingency plan to attack the coronavirus. The ban applies to non-Americans who have been in the Schengen border-free travel area within 14 days of traveling to the United States. The United Kingdom, the Republic of Ireland, and returning United States citizens are not affected. Mr. Trump also declared a national emergency, freeing up to $50 billion in relief funds. There are nearly 2,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the United States and 43 deaths. Trump's administration has faced criticism for its failure to provide Americans with widespread coronavirus testing. Nigeria has emerged chairman of 2 standing committees in the HADA Committee on the roadmap to attaining universal suffrage into the Ecowas Parliament. National Assembly correspondent Vivian Idekwe for reports on this and other businesses as the inaugural session of the 5th Ecowas Parliament ends.
To attain universal suffrage for the Ecowas Parliament is headed by the first Deputy Speaker, Ahmed Idris Wasi. The standing committees are those of Administration, Finance and Budget Control, chaired by Senator Mohammed Ali Ndume, while Linda Ikpeazu chairs that of Telecommunications and Information Technology. Senator Mohammed Ali Ndume has concerns over what he describes as disproportionate distribution of positions to the Anglophone countries despite their numerical strength.
So the Anglophone, and particularly the Nigerian delegation, should be compensated and considered in ad hoc positions and other activities of the Ecowas, because the foundation of this assembly must be formed on equity, justice and fairness.
Speaker of the Ecowas Parliament, Sidi Mohamed Tunis, wants parliamentarians to focus more on building a strong regional body than nationalism. To this end, the leadership of the Ecowas Parliament will engage national parliaments through the resuscitation of the National Association of Presiding Officers of West African Parliament.
Permit me to use this medium to appeal to us that as we begin a new legislature, let us redouble our efforts towards pushing for an agenda that will impact positively on the lives and well-being of our people.
The first ordinary session of the Ecowas Parliament is scheduled to hold in May in Abuja, Nigeria. From Niamey, Republic of Niger, Vivian Idekpefo, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari says government will continue to give education the necessary attention for improved quality of graduates in the country, Ivory Towers. The president, who was represented by the Minister of State for Education, Chukwuemeka Nwajuba, gave the assurance at the 33rd convocation ceremony of the University of Calabar. The president said due to the importance government attaches to education, over 600 billion naira was allocated to the sector in the 2020 budget. Licenses were given for the establishment of private and state universities, among others, so that Nigerians can have access to education.
It is indicative of our resolve to expand our investment in the education sector. In the light of this, I urge our public universities to be necessarily creative in order to reasonably expand their internally generated revenue and complement the modest efforts of government. They should also find creative ways of exploiting the existing public-private partnership policy to meaningfully bridge the infrastructural gaps existing on our campuses.
Made in the last 4 years, which is comparable to second-generation universities as a result of prudent management of resource that is central to its administration. The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Calabar, Professor Zana Akpagu, said the university has sustained academic excellence, which has remained its core targets. And in other news, the presidency says, contrary to allegations of collusion to remove former Emir Sanusi from office, it intervened at many stages of the conflict to avoid escalation in the last 2 years. But the moves collapsed following the refusal of the two sides to shift ground. It says when the Kano state government resolved to remove Emir Sanusi in 2017, the governor informed President Buhari of the decision, but he outrightly advised against it as it was inappropriate. It was followed with a written letter to the governor on 17th of November 2017, in which the president's advice was clearly stated with directive on his chief of staff, Abba Kyari, to follow up for a peaceful resolution of the crisis. A committee made up of 5 state governors, led by that of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, was set up. Governor Fayemi is Jigawa state counterpart, and the Inspector General of Police made several expeditions to Kano to prevail on the governor not to remove the emir in those tense moments. In reaction to various suggestions by senior citizens, including generals, Babangida Wushishi and Abdusalami Abubakar, among others. The Chief of Staff sought permission and gave green light for the commencement of work by the Abdusalami Abubakar Committee. Governor Danjide afterwards gave conditions for peace, including the withdrawal of court cases by Emir Sanusi against the Kano state government. Sanusi allegedly accepted to withdraw some of the cases but stood his ground on the others, including his refusal to withdraw a court case instituted by Bashir Tofa and his group, who the state government alleged to be Sanusi's proxy in the case. The governor insisted that the newly created Emirates must be kept, but acceded to the emir that 4 of the 5 kingsmakers whose districts were excised from Kano be reinstated. It was clear all this while that the inflexibility to meet some of the conditions for peace by the parties added complications that made peace almost impossible. For example, the former emir wanted the Kano State Anti-Corruption Commission to stop its case against him completely. He stood firmly that the case he instituted against the Code of Conduct Bureau will not be withdrawn because, in his view, he needed to pursue it to clear his name, a demand that Governor Ganduje rejected. Despite the frustrations, the president did not give up on the efforts for peace in a renewed effort to reconcile the two actors in the conflict. Having gone to this extent for peace, it is uncharitable and baseless to accuse President Buhari of ordering Ganduje to depose Sanusi. The president holds Sanusi in high esteem and has nothing personal against him and couldn't have instructed Ganduje to depose him. Allegations that Abuja, referring indirectly to President Muhammadu Buhari, is complicit in the emir's alleged forceful removal from the palace and exile to Nasarawa and equally baseless. The 2020 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination UTME commenced today with not less than 1,900,000 candidates expected to sit for the exercise. Out of this number, 312,157 participated on the commencement day nationwide. Olayin Kaujo reports that the examination body also introduced some practices to protect candidates and examiners alike with global attention on COVID-19.
Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, 669 computer-based test centers, 1.9 million candidates, the highest in more than 40 years, formed the test sheet for this year's exercise. Biometrics began as early as 7 a.m. to give candidates a clean bill of health before entering the examination hall. This is to checkmate the issue of multiple registration. The examination appeared smooth, and the applications seamless in some centers visited. Candidates had 2 morning hours to convince the examiner after months of burning the midnight oil.
Some went pretty well, and there was no system failure.
Some systems had some letters like mix up, but that changed my system, but it went well.
Paradoxically, even in examinations, it appears not all fingers are equal. Kempia Jepta, a candidate, has such fingers.
At first when I came in, I was so excited that today I'm going to write my exam and everything will be okay. But when I started the thumb printing, my finger was not working.
If at all there are cases, they may just be 1 out of hundreds of thousands. And we've put adequate provision to address such cases when they come.
The 2020 UTME CBT examination is expected to end in April. The result is as eagerly anticipated by the examination body as it is by the candidates. We simply say, good luck to both. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Thank you so much, Olayinka. Now to infrastructure. The federal government promises sustaining infrastructure development across the country to stimulate economic growth and well-being of the people. Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, gave this indication while inspecting progress of work on the multi-billion naira local Oweto Bridge across River Benue, linking Benue and Nasarawa states. Achigili Magaji reports. We apologize for that hitch. You're still watching the news on NTA International. More reports ahead when we return. Stay with us.
COVID-19 is mostly through droplets from sneezing and saliva. The most effective way to protect yourself from the virus is to practice good personal hygiene. Wash hands with soap under running water or use an alcohol-based sanitizer if water is not available. Maintain at least 2 meters distance between yourself and anyone who is coughing or sneezing. Cover your mouth and nose with your elbow or tissue when you cough or sneeze. Dispose of the used tissue immediately. If you have traveled recently to a country with COVID-19 outbreak in the last 14 days and you have a fever, cough, or breathing difficulty, call NCDC toll-free numbers before going to the hospital. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
Thanks for staying with us. Now to tourism. Senate President Hamid Lawan has assured that the National Assembly will continue to support the executive arm of government through legislation that will enable it to fund the fight against insecurity, that will create an enabling environment for the citizenry to live and explore their potential. The Senate President stated this at the grand finale of the 2020 Argungu International Fishing and Cultural Festival in Argungu. Anthony Folson reports.
Matamfada River in Argungu is not new to the people. It can only be new to a first-timer to the area. It is the traditional fishing spot during the Argungu Fishing Festival. In the last 10 years, no fishing activity has taken place here. With the return of the festival this year, the enthusiasm was high, probably a reason why the over 30,000 fishermen who had assembled to be part of the fishing spree jumped the gunshot to signal the start. In no time, they began to emerge with their catch. At the expiration of time, about 100 of these fishes were brought out of the water. Abubakar Yawu from Augi had the biggest catch, weighing 78 kilograms, while Bala Yahya and Sani came second and third respectively with their catch weighing 75 and 70 kilograms respectively. They got cash, vehicles and seats to perform Hajj as their reward. Members of the motor race were not left out of the largesse as Pujo emerged overall winner. Senate President, while commending Kebbi State government for its commitment and determination to revive the festival, said the National Assembly will do all in its capacity to enable the federal government support states in sustaining cultural heritage.
This is one activity that had started in 1936, and by the grace of God, from this moment on, this activity, this fishing festival, will continue to take place. And I believe that the Kebbi State government has done quite a lot, but we are also doing quite a lot at the national level in the National Assembly to support and continue to support Mr. President to provide security for all Nigerians in all parts of the country. And what we do here is to appropriate funds and to ensure that the funds are released to the security agencies of our country to continue to provide a secure environment for our people.
Equally, this festival is a celebration of equitable competition. Fishermen from around Nigeria, from outside Nigeria, are given the opportunity to come and compete equitably. And that's another big message for our country, that what is important in nationhood is creating of equitable opportunities for those who are willing to put in effort.
The Argungu Fishing and Cultural Festival has brought fame, socio-economic growth to Argungu, Kebbi State and the nation as a whole. From Argungu, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
And away from festivals, the House of Representatives Committee on Navy is expressing satisfaction with the level of commitment exhibited by the Eastern Naval Command of the Nigerian Navy towards securing its maritime domain, as well as providing infrastructure development for all its officers, ratings and civilians working in the command. The House Committee Chairman stated this after he led members of the committee on a tour of projects at the command's headquarters, Calabar. Paul Abel completes the story.
Commanding Eastern Naval Command dwells on an overview of the command, focusing on achievements, litigation cases, challenges which include inadequate budgetary funding to execute construction of jetties, acquisition of helicopter for air surveillance, and other recommendations. The House of Representatives Committee on Navy in turn assures the senior officers that the visit is not to witch hunt anybody, but to collaborate and support the Navy, as the nation's economic viability depends largely on security of the maritime environment. On the field, the team inspects arrested smuggled wooden boats at NNS Victory, blocks of accommodation and facilities at the Nigerian Navy Reference Hospital, at Timbo and Akum bases, nursery and primary school Ikoransa, the Navy Secondary School at Pabuyu, all in Calabar, where they equally interacted with pupils and students, as well as announcing scholarship for best students in each level for 1 year.
Navy in the Eastern Naval Command have done unprecedentedly well, and by the special grace of God, the Nigerian people, through the leadership of Femi Bajabiamila in the House of Representatives, will reward them for what they have done, and will do better to ensure that we have improved their capacity through meeting up with some of their challenges.
Nigerian taxpayers have given us certain amount of money, and with the visit of the members today, we have justified what has been given to the Nigerian Navy, which is very important. With that, they know our requirement, our challenges, and also they will be able to plan for the Nigerian Navy.
The team also visited other units in Akwa Ibom State and held a stakeholders interactive meeting with all major players in the maritime sector, as issues on the sustenance of security in that environment came under extensive examination.
With this visit, it is hoped that the challenges identified by the command will be properly taken care of by the committee. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA.
And out to sports, committee submits reports on the crisis rocking the Powerlifting Federation. Olumide Oguntola has details of this and more on Sports Updates.
A 5-man panel of inquiry set up by the board of Nigerian Powerlifting Federation on the crisis rocking the federation before, during and after the Powerlifting World Championship in Abuja has submitted its report to the board. The chairman of the committee, Fred Edori, who said that all parties involved are given fair hearing, stressed that adopting recommendations in the document will forestall future reoccurrences of the incident.
Federations have to provide their constitutions, ratify them, and operate with them. As we worked here, we couldn't find a constitution for the federation, so we had to rely on the code.
The acting president of the federation, Roel Ishaku, thanked the committee for the good job done, promising that the board will look into the recommendations with a view to resolving the crisis amicably. In football, the Nigerian Football Federation has renewed its partnership deal with a tricycle and motorcycle manufacturing company for another 2 years. This means the various national teams will continue to enjoy support in all ramifications from the brand that got the title of the official motorcycle and tricycle of Super Eagles of Nigeria 2 years ago.
We are very, very happy to renew this contract with them for the next 2 years. We believe in 2 years' time when we are coming here to renew, I believe they would have upped their ante in terms of what is coming into our coffers.
We look forward to working with the NFF so that we can continue supporting the Super Eagles, the NFF, and also the Super Falcons.
In another development, receiving the torch of unity for the Edo 2020 National Sport Festival, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who highlighted the importance of the biannual sport fiesta to the unity of Nigeria, charged Team Lagos to be good ambassadors and aim at the first position at the Games.
We are going to be fair, we are going to be firm, and we are going to ensure that Lagos will never carry last. Right? We will come back to the first position. That's what is deserving of us.
Team Lagos Watch Wars ahead of the games is Operation 100 Gold Medals. With sports update, Olumide Guntola, NTA News.
Next is a look at tomorrow's weather prospects.
Intelligent and the talented. Get ready for the Unity Challenge reality TV show.